Okay, here I am on my way home from a birthday party that was thrown for me by some very close old friends. Playing around with my Windows phone, reading some posts that show up on my wall. Now, those of you who are 12-steppers, I'm going to tell you this unequivocally, that I object to you breaking your anonymity and posting 12-step related literature and comments that show up on my wall. And while I was a member of a 12-step program for many, many years and still am a member of that program but not using the steps, in fact, dissing the steps and excluding them from my vocabulary and from my language of, quote, recovery, unquote. Let me restate one more time. I am not in recovery. I am completely recovered. I did not have a disease. I had a behavioral problem. I am not someone who was sick physically like I was with hepatitis C and with other ongoing, basically, sort of incurable ailments. Let me reiterate that the steps do not have as good an effect for the thinking individual as rational thinking and common sense. Common sense is the cure for addiction. In fact, the word cure is erroneous, as addiction has nothing to do with cure. Addiction has everything to do with changing behavior, changing beliefs, changing state patterns. That is how we get out of and stay out of addiction. Not using the religious nature of the 12-step program. And I don't care how you want to call it a spiritual, not a religious program. That's complete and utter bullshit. When you do cult testing using several different tests that determine whether something is a religion or a cult, you will see that the 12-step program fails that every time because it is a religion. It is based in Christianity, even though in some of these programs, quote unquote, it has become a spiritual pursuit and not a religious pursuit. For the atheist, there's no apology in this. When at the same time we use the same logic and rationale that we use against the humanistic atheists. Our ethics and morality are not based in humanism. While we may borrow some things from humanism, we are not humanists. We do not ascribe to Christian morality and principles. We do not forgive people that willingly, maliciously harm us. In fact, we take delight in finding revenge upon them within the means of the law that are legal. So we do not ascribe to any of this bullshit that you find in the steps. And it is bullshit. We're not powerless over an imagined disease. We weren't insane. We did not have physically based mental disorders that caused addiction. None of that. None of that is true. We don't rely on a power outside ourselves that's greater than ourselves. We don't believe in God. There is no God. You can believe in whatever you want to believe, but the atheist believes there is no God and doesn't believe in all the concepts of God. So, one more time, let me reiterate to you, 12-steppers. Please understand that I am going to hide your posts on my wall. I do not want your posts on my Facebook wall. I would appreciate it if you would honor your own 11th tradition which talks about anonymity at the level of press, radio, and films, of which Facebook qualifies for all three, in a sense, especially press. So please, honor your own, quote, principles, unquote, and don't talk 12-step nonsense on Facebook, unless you have a confined friend network, which is all 12-steppers. And with that in mind, there are other groups, like In the Rooms, of which I have a membership in and post my rhetoric there as well, okay, because I want the unsuspecting and the unwary and the vulnerable, and also those who are hooked to the bone with this 12-step nonsense. I want them to see and to know that there are those of us out there who have cast this aside, who have found complete freedom, who've found complete recovery away from the nonsense and the cultism and the religiosity of the 12-step program.